It's time for the Film Crickets with Jay Fortier, Chris Martineau, and Melanie Howerton. On this week's episode, the Crickets join their good friend Ray Auger, and they review the 1986 American teen comedy film Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
All right. Hey, friends. My name is Jay Fortier. I'm along with my good friends, Chris Martineau.
Hello. Hey, what's up?
Going on, buddy? And Melanie Howerton.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Super.
Good. And welcome to the Film Crickets. And right now we have, once again, our good friend. He's becoming a guest staple, and we love having him.
He's an all-star.
He is Ray Auger.
He's an all-star at this point.
Hello. And now here's the other thing. We didn't get to... when this was being, when Steve was doing the intro, I had not heard that Ray was doing a new podcast in addition to New England Legends.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us all about it, man?
Yeah, it's called, and I might have to change this because there's another one, Don't Quit Your Day Job. Mm-hmm. And the other one that I found recently is a little bit more successful. I've already taped shows, too, so I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know if I just throw it out there. Anyway, it's about local musicians, local cover band musicians, and how they have day jobs. We all have day jobs, but then at night we act like rock stars in small local clubs. And so I talk about that balance. You get to know the person behind the mic, and then who they are on the mic. And we talk about things like cover charges and dealing with club managers and who's responsible for getting the people through the doors at the bar. Is it the band? It's 50% really, but you run into both sides where it's not the band's fault. It's not our fault nobody came. You don't have a good product. Nobody wants to come here. And then the bar manager saying, well, I mean, we have a fine product. It's you guys. You stink. So we're just talking about
so
stuff
it's kind
like
of the seedy underbelly of the local rock scene kind of.
I mean, if you've probably never, ever thought of it, but if you were curious, we'll find out what it's like to be in a local cover band. We're not talking about superstars. We're talking about the guy that works insurance during the day and plays bass at night.
Cool. That's a fantastic. I think that's cool because it's like,
Yeah.
maybe, by listening to your podcast, maybe we come to find out that the problems that the superstars have, maybe we have something in common with the problems that the local guys have. Like they have the same... I mean, not to the same level, but maybe that's a common ground. Maybe. Who knows? So
yeah, and I'm hoping that that people will get something out of this anywhere in the world. If you're in a local cover band, you're going through the same issues we're going through here in Milford, Mass. So.
All right, and if you follow Ray on Facebook, he is pretty much the mayor of Milford, Massachusetts. He's involved with a lot of stuff in Milford, and also a self-proclaimed IPA beer snob. So.
A little bit, for 2 years now. Yeah.
So, anyhow, so guys, we got Ferris Bueller this week. This is fantastic. I was, I got it in. This for me was a movie in high rotation. It's kind of defined some of my my earlier life. I really liked this movie, and I started thinking about it before I rewatched it. And I was wondering how I thought it would progress as I become older. Right now. So we're going to talk about this in a minute, but Jay and Melanie, I don't know if you've had a conversation about this before, but there are teachers involved in this movie. So my ears weren't ringing, so you weren't talking about me
No.
behind, okay.
No.
Like, he's going to say this because he's a teacher, and blah.
No.
No. We get enough abuse.
Well, no, you know why we just... it came up on Breakfast Club because Breakfast Club is a lot more serious,
yes.
So... it would be one. I could see people holding on to that one as like a treasured film, like, you know what I mean, because it goes deep. So it's not just comedy.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, so that means more maybe sometimes to people. I mean, I can see that one meaning more to somebody than Ferris Bueller. Ferris Bueller is great. I'm not knocking it down by saying that. I'm saying that, because of the depth, it could really mean more to somebody. And I think. Thinking about how you would sometimes be the Schadenfreude guy, and
glee in the misery of others. That's kind of my bag. Yep.
Right.
Right. And we were talking about how it would be from a teacher's point of view versus a kid's point of view.
And I was like,
Well, that was
I was
kinda
like, I
different,
wonder, but this I'm not concerned because it's just a goofy.
Oh no,
like it's just more like I just not even that I was concerned. That's the wrong word, but like more like I wonder what he what he thinks of this. As far as Breakfast Club, because
I think you start feeling bad for Rooney as you get older. You feel a little bad for Rooney. And you can relate to him more. Punk kid. What is this kid doing?
Hold on. We're going to get to the boy breaking into a house.
Well, let's unpack.
It can't feel too bad, man.
Let's unpack Rooney in a minute. Hold on. Because there are.
Never mind the sick, twisted actor that plays him.
A little sketchy.
Why? What? Sorry. Why? What's going on with that?
He got there's something to do with young boys or something.
Alleged. Let's say alleged. I don't know where we stand on this legally. Alleged interactions, inappropriate interactions with young boys.
Alleged.
Yeah.
Oh, I never even heard of that.
And it's unfortunate because he's in Beetlejuice as well. You know what I mean? You can't watch Beetlejuice without going.
I know. I love Beetlejuice. Okay. We have to do Beetlejuice. We've not done that. That's huge, and they have plays.
All right, so look, as we're looking up child pornographers, let's
Okay, in 2002.
We got it. All right, go.
In 2002, Jones was arrested for possession of child pornography and accused by a 17-year-old boy of solicitation to pose nude for photographs. He pleaded no contest, so I would say no longer alleged.
That's not alleged. All right.
All right. So I'm feeling pretty good now, baby. Not feeling good about this situation, but feeling that I'm not in trouble for slander.
And him and also chasing down teenagers in this movie. So let's get into it. Ferris Bueller. We don't want to get dark. We want to keep it light. It's a light movie. It is the anti-Breakfast Club. So let's get into it. I want to talk about. So first question, we're going to go around. When's the last time you saw this movie? Did you see it in the theater? Was it something that you watched a lot when you were younger? How did you identify with this movie when you first saw it? And that's my first question to everybody. We're going to go to Melanie first, so that's a warning for you. And then you can pitch it to whoever you want. And then, after that, the question is, have you ever ditched school? For any reason, under any circumstances. Have you ever ditched school?
You're literally going to start with me first, and I zoned out. I don't even know what you want me to say.
One White Claw, folks. Just one. Okay, so the... So Melanie,
not a sponsor.
Well, unsponsored.
Not a sponsor.
I'm going to go to Ray first, Melanie, and then Ray can decide. Ray, what's your history with this movie, and have you ever ditched school?
Well, thank you for recapping that for me.
No problem.
Let's see. I saw it opening week when it came out. I was 14 years old. Immediately fell in love with it. I remember being uncomfortable watching it with my dad for some reason. Because there's some swears and there's a little sexual undertone. That's it. Mm-hmm. But we went to see it, and I loved it right out of the gate. So I kind of lived my whole high school years as him being such a big role model for me. Last time I saw it was about 2 hours ago.
Okay.
And I've probably seen it 20, 30, 40 times. Mm-hmm. You lose count after a while. But it's one of the movies that just sticks with me. Mm-hmm. I did ditch school once, and so there were 4 of us that hung out in high school. 2 just didn't come in one day, and we're like, "Oh, where's Shane and Jake? This stinks, Woody. What do you want to do?" We go through the halls where they're at school, and like, "Oh, let's get out of here before the bell rings." So we take off. And this is, going to be our Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Mm-hmm. And we got caught immediately because everyone saw us. Yeah. And we came from a small high school like Ferris. Mm-hmm. So everyone knew we were there. And I think the school nurse we drove by her at one point at like lunchtime. Nice. And we ended up in suspension the next day.
Okay.
So.
Well, there you go. So no one chased you down to your home?
No, it's nothing like the movies. Nothing that exciting.
Okay.
Growing up in East Brookfield, Mass. I don't know what we did that day, but it was nothing exciting. We didn't go to a Cubs game, or a Sox game, rather. A Red Sox game.
I don't think anybody on the history of the world could match Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
he goes in a time warp, I'm pretty sure, at some point. Some alternate goddamn dimension so he can get this stuff done. All right, Ray, pick. Who's next?
Let's go with Melanie.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't remember the first time I saw it. I've seen it a trillion times. I watched it just the other day. Have I ever skipped school? Far too many times. I don't even remember how many times. That's how many times.
Nice. You walked into school and they went, "Who's that?"
No, I remember the very first time. The very first time it was kind of funny because me and my friend lived across the street from each other. And I remember complaining the whole time, like, I don't want to go to school because I got up late. I didn't have time to take a shower and do my hair. I felt like I looked gross. Teenager, you don't want to go to school looking like that. So I remember going, oh my God, my hair looks horrible. I don't want to go to school. I look horrible. And I was tired and I'm not ready and whatever. I just remember complaining to my mom. So she's like, get out of the house and go to school. So I walked across the street to pick up my friend Stephanie. And as soon as I get in the door, I can hear her complaining literally about the same thing. She's like bitching to her mom that there was no hot water and her hair came out bad and she's miserable and she doesn't want to go to school and whatever. And so it was just funny. So we end up walking down the street super slow towards the school bus. And we're like, imagine if we just missed the bus. And then no sooner did we say that, we saw the bus go by and we're like, we could have ran and caught it, but we were like, yeah. So I remember there was a house under construction, and we went and took our lunch boxes and sat underneath the porch and ate our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and played dots on paper.
Oh my God.
And then we went back to the house, and we both felt guilty, so we both cleaned each other's houses, and we picked lilacs that were a hedge on the side of my house, and we put them in the house for our parents to see when we got home. And we were like, okay, that's good. We totally thought we got away with it. We didn't realize that the school called and said, hey, your kid ditched school. So I remember exactly, it was so weird. I remember every little thing. I went over Stephanie's house. Her mom was cutting up vegetables, and we grabbed some like green peppers, and we're walking down the street. And then all of a sudden, Stephanie's mom goes, Stephanie, get in here. And Melanie, your mom wants you too. And we're like, oh God. And then our parents tried to keep us apart. We were like punished, and we couldn't see each other, so we had walkie-talkies.
Nice. Wow.
And we would talk to each other across the street and sneak in each other's windows, their bedroom windows, and I'm like, how can they keep us apart? We live across the street and we go to school together and take the same bus together. But it was, I remember that whole first time I skipped, and I don't remember how many times. Another time was, I do remember one time me and my boyfriend were walking from the school, and a cop picked us up because kids our age were supposed to be in high school, and they brought us right back to school.
Because it's the law. A defendable right by law is guaranteed in the Constitution that you have to be in school.
I don't remember.
No,
how old was the first incident?
Because I'm picturing when she's originally talking, like I'm picturing like later, like towards the end of school,
I was probably 13 the first time.
Because that description was more of like a younger,
Well, you mentioned lunchbox.
Yeah.
I think that was,
and peanut butter and jelly.
And we were playing dots, or eating our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Yeah,
we talked about how handsome Bo Duke was on the cover of my lunchbox, and oh God! All right.
I had super friends when I was really little.
Fuck the Wonder Twins. Melanie, where are we going next?
Jay.
All right. So I saw it. I saw it in the theater, and then many, many times throughout my life, and to the point where I didn't even need to watch it for this show. I got to the point where I was like, nah, I don't have time, and I'm not going to make time because I know it. And I can't see that I was going to pick a new thing out today. I was like, nah, I doubt it. So if I get surprised, then okay. But did I skip school? Not until senior year, because I was always like I said, I don't know if I've ever said this on the show, but not a brave soul when it comes to adventure of doing the wrong things or bad things. Like I just said off the before the show, that when I was doing interning for a morning show, I didn't want to be the stunt guy that could possibly get arrested doing stupid stunts. Because I was always worried about consequences. So it kind of took a long time for me to get rolling on that whole skipping school thing. Now, my friend Jay, he decided, he was like, yeah, man, we're going to go tomorrow. He goes, pull up to the parking lot. I'll get off the bus. I'll run up to the parking lot and I'll meet you there and we'll go. And it's getting close, within a minute or two to the end of where the bell's going to go off type of thing. And I was like, I'm going inside. This is not going to happen. I'm freaking out. And all of a sudden he comes running up the hill. He's like, let's go. Next thing you know, we're sitting at Burger King eating this and that. And we're eating breakfast, and yeah, man, we'd be now we'd be in first period, we're doing that whole thing that they do later. Realize we'd be in gym right now. And then we ended up at his house, and playing like video games in his room, but we shut the door and locked it, and like his like stepfather came home, so like we just like, you know, like the type where you like everybody's breathing really, like, you know, because we parked around the corner. We weren't parking in a garage, like, or like in the driveway. We were like parking down the street. And now here's the best part: when back in the day, we didn't really have much of a truant officer thing going on. If we did, it wasn't like that insane. And they did not call your home at that time, like in 1990 or 1989.
Nope.
So. Well, at least in our town.
They did when
I know.
Every damn time.
I'm surprised. So when you, even if it didn't even have to be the next day, you could sit there and write have a note that said, please, you know, so I think I skipped a couple times and I wrote a note saying, please excuse my son, Jay. For,
Note coming in from Epstein's mother. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it was like, each time he was out this month, or whatever, you know, this quarter, he was sick. So
yeah, it was. That's it.
It was like
we don't even take notes anymore. We don't give a damn.
No, but it was like to the point of just make sure you don't skip any more days past that day that's gonna get you like in trouble. Like meaning that there's like a certain amount that's going to get you where you can't, like, you know, you might fail. So like that type of thing. So don't do that because she doesn't know I was out that much.
Cool.
But
all right.
I got clever after a while. Sorry. So I would walk out the front door. My mom would stand there to make sure, oh, you're going to school. So she'd watch me walk around the house, but then I would walk straight around the side of the house and stand up against the wall and wait to hear her get into the shower. And then I would go sneak across the sliding glass door where she couldn't, because she was already in the shower, she wouldn't see me run across the sliding glass door, and go into the boiler room that was in the back of the house and wait in there where it was nice and heated. And then I could wait to hear her car leave, and then I'd go right back around and let myself right in. And when the message came on, I would just delete it on the
nice.
machine.
That's cool. That's 007 shit right there. I like that. All right, well, I'll go. So that's when it came out. I think I was about Ray's age, maybe a year younger. I loved it instantaneously. I actually memorized some of the lines immediately. My sister was surprised. I went with my sister, and she was like shocked that I could, like, she would set a line for the movie and I corrected her. Like something about it really like hit with me. And then once it came on videotape, my grandmother pirated it or dubbed it. So I watched it over and over and over again. It was one of those things like you find a new friend. I'm like, you haven't seen Ferris Bueller? You should see Ferris Bueller. And I watched it over and over. Even just by myself, I would just watch it because I liked it. I'd skip to the parts that I liked, but I liked the theme. And I think everyone kind of wants to be Ferris, and for reasons that we're going to hopefully discuss in a moment. And in terms of skipping school, no. So I didn't. I was too scared like Jay. I had nowhere to go. All my friends were in school. I didn't. The ones that did ditch that were my friends, I didn't really hang with them that much. So I didn't know where I'd go anyway. I mean, we're all kind of from the woods, all four of us. It's not like it's, you know, I teach in D.C. If you skip school, there's plenty to do. Absolutely 1,000 things to do. Middle of the woods. What are you going to do? Walk around. That's like I tell kids that skip school and they come back to school like once or twice a quarter. I'm like, why'd you bother? Just stay home and play video games. Nothing's going to happen. Like, you're not going to do well. What are you doing here? So that's kind of where I'm at. It was more of I'm a scaredy cat kind of situation. I just didn't. I just kind of went to school. I think once I was going to go to school and it was snowing really hard and I like skidded once driving to school and I turned around and I called my mom at work and said, yeah, I didn't make it because the road's slick, even though I probably could have made it. That was it. So I'm boring, I guess. But it's mostly out of guilt and fear because I'm a Catholic. So let's get to it. You know,
I guess I'm the only Christian.
Yeah, right. That's why I gave up on that. That guilt, forget that. I'm living my life. So anyhow, so let's get to it. Let's do the IMDb breakdown, and then we can talk about the movie. Jay, hit it.
All right, here we go.
It's time now for the one-sentence synopsis from the IMDb.
A high school wise guy is determined to have a day off from school, despite what the principal thinks of that. The film crickets are on now. I hope you will be lucky, and I hope you enjoy the show.
So, wise guy, Ray, you're such a wise guy. Was that what you would call? Do we agree that Ferris Bueller is a wise guy?
I don't know if he's a wise guy.
Clever.
Yeah,
He's clever.
Charming,
right?
clever.
Yeah,
clever,
yeah.
charming.
That's like, he gets away with things because of his charm, I think, not because he's a wise guy. And because he's not a wise guy, he's able to get away with things.
right. It's
AKA
kind of,
kiss ass. I would think.
you're right.
I think he set himself up for that day by being very easygoing and very popular with the staff of the high school and with the students. I think that's what led to that moment where he was able to get away with all that.
So he's kind of like he's a politician in training. He knows who to talk to.
Yeah, and
He knows how to act and win.
those were my high school days. Was kissing up to the principal and the superintendent, assistant principal, for the moments that we wanted to get out of class and go do something. Well, let's go get Ray, and because he'll do it, and he's a nice guy, and and all the while you're doing things behind the administration's back. Very calculated. I feel horrible saying that now.
Man, you're so conniving.
All
all right.
And also, though, on
I
top
guess.
of that, I want to add that I think he felt like, for the most part, he knew more than everyone. Like, I'm not saying that he was saying that about all his fellow students or whatever, but I mean, he just had that, I got this. And he knew it.
Yeah.
Like, that's how he was like,
Yeah.
that's why he even said, like, you think I'm going to let this person get the best of me? Like, because when later on in the movie, when he goes and becomes Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago, instantly says, I'm not going to have this schmuck, get the best of me. Hold on. You know what I mean? Like, and still manages in a pinch to screw with the guy and then let the guy take over, send him over to a table and everything. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like pure confidence.
Can we say that he? All right, so he's got confidence. So do we all know somebody that knows that you work with that knows how to work the system, right? Like they just know, and maybe it bugs you. Maybe you're that person. I know in one way or another, I know how to work, like how to do the things I need to do. Without drawing too much attention to myself where I work. But, maybe we're all that kind of person that they figured it out that this is all kind of bullshit. And if we can kind of work through it, we can kind of come through unscathed. But we also know people that do that and we don't like them because they're abrasive or because they're obviously like sketchy the way they do stuff. And Ferris is the furthest thing from sketchy. He's pretty, like I said, he's not doing anything. He's doing something bad, but he's not doing bad stuff. Can we agree on that, or disagree on that?
Sweet talk his way out of anything. You know what I mean? He's not a mean soul about it. He can sweet talk his way out. But if somebody's being snooty or snotty to him, he will get the upper hand and make this guy look like a chump. But I think for the most part, he goes with kindness first.
Yeah. So is that why he has such a contentious relationship with his sister, who is
because he gets away
sandpaper?
With yeah, she's so angry.
Yeah.
He gets away with anything, and that's what she was upset about. And I used to get a little tension from other people because I just seem to get away with things. And people don't like when other people, no matter how nice they are, they don't like when they can get away with something and you can't.
Well, it's just because it adds up. You're kind of tallying after a while. Like, wait a minute. He did that 6 times. I did that once. I got nailed.
That's your fault.
It's like when I get the speeding ticket and everybody else was speeding.
Oh, right.
Like, why am I? What? I'm just. That's the worst.
All the time. Well, what about that person? That guy passed me. Well, I caught you. That's what I get all the time.
Yeah. Or I get in Maryland they have automatic cameras. Oh my god! And I didn't know they were there when I first moved. And I'm like 4 tickets later. And I'm like, but I'm on a highway. Like how? Anyway, so when it says photo enforced, they mean it. Slow your ass down. Anyhow, so the point of that, it's not fun. So anyway, so the point is that we like Ferris. Okay, right out of the gun, he's the original Deadpool. He's right down the barrel of the camera. Does he know he's in a movie? I don't think he does, but he knows it's an audience, which is weird.
He knows
Right?
he's in a movie because at the very end of the movie, he does say, like, what are you guys still doing
Go
here?
home.
You know,
Right.
the movie's over. Go home, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny because I remember
That is
thinking how clever that moment was, but he was talking to the camera the whole time. You know what I mean?
And I
then-
love that about it. Yeah.
But then that
The way
happened.
he's
I'm like, oh my
narrating
god,
everything.
he's addressing us. Like, well, he's been
Yeah.
doing that the whole time.
I love
And
that.
there
how
is-
he's talking
there is-
about Cameron and talking about his parents and how he's just, I love how he narrates the entire thing.
And not only that, but sometimes because he breaks from talking to his friends and then talking to us. And I remember there's one point in the movie where his friends say something, he gets kind of nonplussed, and he looks at them like, and then he looks at us and goes, and then he looks back, like he's emoting to us how confused he is, like from them to us, and it doesn't come across. If that's not executed properly, does that go well in a movie? Like if you don't have the right person for that,
You're right.
that's bad news.
I think the fact
Yeah,
that
they only wanted him for this because they didn't think anyone else could pull it off because he is so charming.
although Anthony
Okay.
Michael Hall, I think, claims that he was up for that role. I read that
I heard
somewhere.
that the only person that he wanted was Ferris.
Yeah.
Ferris was
Ferris.
Matthew Broderick.
Who is Ferris? I mean, he's done so much. He's a brilliant actor, but he is Ferris Bueller.
He is.
He
Yeah,
is.
I know.
He still sounds like him.
And I also he's not much different than War Games. One of my other favorite
No,
movies
War
before
Games.
this.
Actually, that's a good point. That's like pre-Ferris in his
Right.
earlier years in high school, I think.
And he hacks into the computer in Chicago, much like he hacks into War Games. I'm wondering if that's a nod
Oh,
to his previous character, because they're both likable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Matthew Broderick in War Games is more of a slacker, whereas I don't get Ferris Bueller's a slacker. He just doesn't. He knows how to work the system. Like does Ferris have bad grades? I don't think he has bad grades.
I
Do you
think
get
he
the
gets away
vibe
with
that
it.
he gets?
I had bad grades, not bad grades, but I was a C student. But I got
Yeah.
away with that diploma somehow. Like I probably couldn't have, but I did.
Ray, they wanted you to go, Ray.
Yeah, that was probably
They just
it.
wanted
Yeah.
you to go.
You know, I'm starting to think
Go.
that Matthew Broderick in War Games may have ended up in witness protection after that whole incident and became Ferris Bueller. Maybe whatever his name wasn't with that, maybe they became the Buellers.
And Ray, I think you're tapping into something because the time frame that War Games happens, that boy goes from Seattle to Idaho back to Seattle in about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And in this movie, in this new reality with the Witness Protection Program, War Games Matthew Broderick, we go all over Chicago
Right.
in 6.5 hours, which is not bad.
Time means nothing.
I don't know
to
a
these
lot of
movies.
There's no way.
Time
the
means
timing is
nothing.
so off.
Time means
There's no way.
nothing. The fact that we're going through the city of Chicago and not hitting traffic, and not getting stuck in traffic into a baseball game. Ray, I think everyone here's been to a baseball game. They're easy to get in and out of, right?
Oh,
Particularly
yeah.
if you're driving.
Sure, especially in Boston. Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah,
he took
you know what I mean?
forever just to get out of the house. I mean, he
Yeah, right.
showered, he talked to the camera, he,
He
basically
changes.
he went outside to the pool and hung around, and he kind of called his friend 100 times to get him to come over. And I think, does everybody have that friend that makes you do stuff that you just don't want to do? And then, just like Cameron was like,
His
he's
name
gonna
is
keep
Jay
calling.
Fourier.
He's gonna keep calling. He's gonna make me feel guilty. He's not gonna leave me alone. He's like,
Yep.
until I finally come over there. And when the whole time that Cameron was thinking of that, and he was freaking out in the driveway. I'm like, oh my God, I have a friend just like that. It's like they don't take no for an answer. If they want something, they're going to be like, no, you're going, and this is it. Until you finally just do it.
I love the
think everybody
debate.
can relate to that part of it.
I love the internal debate that Cameron is having.
Yeah, I love it.
You know, like he's gonna keep calling me.
He's gonna keep
He'll
calling. He's gonna
and
make
then
me
I
feel
come
guilty.
over, and then he cranks the car and he starts screaming. Then he goes, "Okay, all right, that's it."
Yep.
Then he gets out. Then you just see him bouncing in the background, but like in the the rear view camera.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's genius. And then
I love that.
like there's
I think
so
Ferris
many.
was,
What?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say there's so many. Like John Hughes does these things that just only John Hughes can do. He can pull it off,
Yeah.
and it works. For some reason, you're like losing your mind, and it stays with you. Like the when Cameron was in Egypt's land.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
and they all start singing like, but the background let my Cameron go. And
They did that with Shauna and Gene.
Yeah.
Towards the end as well.
and
Yep.
at the end
Just
of
a
16
little
Candles, you remember that
acapella
one?
thing. Oh yeah.
When they go, you hear these little like singers going, ha, 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 ha. And he's like, she's like, you know what I like the best? My clean close shave. He goes, clean close shave. These background singers. It's just great though. Like, and that works. Like for some dumb reason, it makes the audience laugh. Like Hughes was amazing.
What?
Amazing.
And
Why
can we
is
talk
it
about-
that-
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, let me just real quick, and then Melanie, I just want to ask her because it goes with what Jay just said. What is it about that guy that he understands what teenagers understand? Like, what's his deal? Like, he absolutely knows how teenagers tick because, like, the stuff when you watch Breakfast Club and you watch 16 Candles and you watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off and all those movies. As a kid, when you're watching it, like, you want to be Ferris Bueller. You understand everything about Breakfast Club. Like, you get Molly Ringwald and 16 Candles. Like, because you're there. He's not there. He's he's middle-aged and above. And when you're in the movie and you're that age, it speaks to you so hard. And then as you get older, again, I still like the movie. It doesn't speak to me as much as it used to because, well, I'm 3 times that age now, but the fact of the matter is, it's not geared to me. It's geared to teenagers. And what is it about him that he has the finger on it? Like, I don't even know when I was 13, 14. I don't even know. I know why I like Ferris Bueller, but I don't know why I liked it that much. Get what I'm saying? Like, it rang so hard. I don't even know why. That's impressive to me. That's direction, that's writing, and that's acting. But wow, like that to me is stunning. Well, he has his thumbprint on that.
Even more amazing, I think he then switches over to something like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where you have a couple middle-aged men who are, one's a father, one's recovering from a lost wife. So now you're dealing with adult issues that you can still clamp onto and understand and relate to. So he goes from the teenagers relating to them at, he's in his mid-30s when he does that, when he writes that stuff. And then he goes and writes an adult thing, which is still equally as funny. But you're reaching 2 different demographics.
I
It's
think
pretty
he's
amazing.
a good writer, and I think he's really in tune to people. I really think that's what it is. And he wrote this thing. What did he write it in 6 days or something?
Something like that,
Yeah, most of his scripts he wrote very quickly.
Yeah, apparently, I don't know, like 3 different movies he had done like all together in a matter of like 3 weeks combined. Like it was like, I want to say like 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, and Weird Science or something like, a couple of them, like boom.
Yeah. And he's not the kind of guy that's going to let somebody else rewrite it either. The studio's not saying, let's do a rewrite with these 2 schmucks. It's a John Hughes written movie, and that's it. It's him.
It did happen, though.
They had to cut a lot out there.
Vacation.
It's a 2-hour and 45-minute movie.
Because he wasn't in total control over Vacation.
Well, Vacation, I think, was his first script.
Right. So I'm just saying, like,
he didn't have as much.
He didn't have his, sea legs or whatever. I don't know. He didn't have his thing under him. But
so you know what's, and I'm gonna Melanie, you had a point for it. I don't want to step all over it. Are you? You're good. Okay.
Well, no. The only thing I was
go
going to
ahead.
say is, can we talk about all the baby talk with his parents?
Yes.
It's just
Go ahead.
so over the top, little tiny baby talk with his parents.
It's cringy.
Like 2
It
years
is
old.
still cringy. Yeah.
It is.
I love
It's
you. I
crazy.
love you.
Yes.
Ugh.
He's tucking him into bed and talking about the soup, and he's repeating everything. And oh my God, it's insane. He does it like twice, and it's just insane. I'm like, how does his parents not get that he's faking that? He's, 17 years old, and he's talking like he's a baby?
What do you think that maybe he has always managed to pull everything over them as well? Just like in the same way Ray was talking about, like, it's not in a mean way. It's not even always, it's probably not even always dishonest. It's a way for him to get in. It works. And it's something he, why would you give that up? Why would anyone give that up if you could do that?
He knows who he's talking to at any given time and the situation that goes along with that conversation. He's controlling everything.
And he gives people what they want, what they want to hear, what they want to hear.
So let's think about that. He is a grand manipulator, which is not a great character trait at all.
No.
That's a horrible person if it were in anybody else's skin. But because it's true, like who wants to be with a manipulator? But he manipulates his best friend.
Yeah.
Like he manipulates everybody.
What I caught this time around was that he listened to Cameron at the end as he was talking about his dad and how he's going to have to deal with his dad. And for a moment, it was all about Cameron. And Ferris just kept his mouth shut. And it was probably the longest span of time that the camera was on him that he said nothing. And I was for some reason, that stuck out a little bit more this time around, being older. I'm like, oh, here's people that care about each other now. Now I see it. And I think Ferris cared about him from the start. That's why he tried to get him out of the house.
Yeah.
But it was towards the end where I think Ferris may have learned something that day, that it's not all about him.
Well, okay. I'll agree with you there. And it goes to show when Ferris is doing active listening as opposed to just talking to his buddy. So he's actively listening, right? So that was one of the benchmarks of Breakfast Club. Like the big stuff happens when they're all actively listening to each other, right? Not just agreeing. But I guess what I wanted to get to before is Ferris Bueller, he has a small character arc. If Ray, I agree with what you're saying in that he actually may have learned something about relationships, but it's not a strong lesson.
No,
right?
because then it's all about getting home in time so he doesn't get in trouble.
Right.
Just like that, it changes.
So the only story arc in the movie is Cameron, right?
Well,
the
that's
only
where it gets
character arc,
sentimental.
like he's the only person that develops in the movie,
And
which is weird.
Jay said it was just a crazy comedy, which it is, but there was a soft spot, and all the dramatic moments were about Cameron. It was looking at the photograph or the painting and seeing that lost little boy, and he's connecting, and it was like the music going. It was a very heartfelt moment where you felt for Cameron, and then as the movie went on, you felt more for him. But yeah, he did have the dramatic arc.
And when he looks at the painting, think about it, it's silent screaming. Which is what Cameron is doing his whole life. Right. Just silent screaming. He wants to be better than a Ferrari kind of thing, which is really something, right? So obviously the Ferrari is symbolic of everything that his father loves, and he is not, which is why we have to destroy the Ferrari, which is a damn shame, but I get it. Because that car, boy.
on that car, I guess that car would normally cost anywhere from $11 million to $18 million for that one car. So they didn't want to ruin it, so they made 3 replicas for that car. So they obviously wasn't the car, but
well, they would go down in history as the worst filmmakers on the planet if they destroyed a freaking Ferrari.
But what they did was
on purpose.
They made 3 of them. One of them wasn't ready for production, when it came to time and filming, but the other 2. One of them sold for $396,000, and the one that they actually did crash through and got real bad damage, they fixed it, and it sold for $407,000.
Sure.
Wow.
For
Does
a replica.
it run?
Right, but it's because it was in
they
that
restored
movie.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
no,
cool.
they restored the whole thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Try looking for like the original Back to the Future cars.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there's something about that. Like people are bonkers about that.
There's one around here somewhere. I've seen one around here.
Yeah,
No,
Hadley.
but I mean from the set. Like there's like a
maybe.
whole thing about finding the original 6 or something. Can I'm going to open this everybody because Ray said something and it's making my brain hurt.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because Ray's just the man. No, I don't know. He is, but he just made me think of something.
You.
So you can send all checks payable too. So here's the thing. So what you said before, I'm just realizing it now, is that when Cameron's spilling his guts about his dad, I think, which is the point of the movie. I'm sorry, that moment is the point of the movie. Everything else is very entertaining, but the heart of the movie is Cameron. No doubt about it, because he has the most at stake, and he's the one that is the most damaged, right? And even though he's not on the outside, because lives in an awesome house in suburban Chicago, but he's got the most problems of anybody. And we have Ferris actively listening at the end, and Ray says maybe that's when Ferris learned a lesson about relationships. I agree with that. Never thought of that. So let's rewind back to the parade scene, which is awesome. The parade scene is awesome. Again, doesn't happen during the school day, but whatever. Like Come on, like all this shit's not happening during the school day, guys.
Right.
So
There's
anyhow,
a game and a parade. Come on.
game and a fine restaurant and an art museum. You guys, like, I do the same thing. Like when I'm home from school and it's suddenly 10 o'clock, I'm like, oh my God, the day's half done. Like, and I just slept.
Wait, weren't the parking attendants busy that day? They could just drive around all day. There's 2 of them.
Right.
Who else is working at that parking garage? There are people coming in and out. There's a parade and a game going on.
I
thought of that too. Oh my God! And you know they're making a spinoff. The creators from Cobra Kai are making a spinoff. Yeah, and it's going to be the what did you say? The two valet guys.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
How they going to do
what
that?
they did on their day off with the car.
Yeah.
But hold on. But the point I'm getting at is this: is that we're in the parade, and he wants to tell Cameron, like, just relax and have a good time, and he's like, "Look, I'm going to show you. Here's how you have a good time. You take over a parade, and you lip sync the Beatles, and you sing Danke Schoen in front of thousands of people, and this is how you're supposed to have a good time." So basically, let's think about this. Ferris, you know, it's a wonderful scene. He's not active listening. He's basically telling a person with depression, hey, just cheer up.
Do what I do.
Yeah, just do what I do. It's easy as that. And that's bullshit. That's not how that works, right?
Well, because Cameron says, how does he do this? How is he able to do all this stuff? Because
Right.
Cameron can't.
Right. But the Ferris doesn't understand that. Just do it. Yeah, just do it. And that's kind of neat. You know what I mean? Because he could have 1,000 parades and Cameron wouldn't feel better.
Right.
Cameron's only going to feel better when he finally is able to say what he needs to say at the end of the movie.
But
he's
he
just
never
like,
would have
"Nope,
broken. He never would have broken through his own personal demons without Ferris making him do all this shit today. So like,
He would have been in bed all day.
right,
Yep,
he would have
you're
been
right. Okay.
blowing his nose and collecting tissues and all that shit.
Okay.
Singing weird songs.
So like, no matter what, there was a necessary aspect to the craziness of Ferris, like because if he didn't do any of that, the Ferrari never would have gotten broken. Hey, the one thing that Ferris doesn't also know, besides anything to do with like personal relationships or anything, is the mechanics of a vehicle, because you can't just drive backwards and have holy shit, I just saw a mouse. Dude, I'm telling you, it's
What's
freaking
going on around here?
It's freaking
Wow.
like, Ray, you're the mice man. Like, we had a mouse in the last one. I just saw it like run across I have a soundboard over there, and it like ran right across. It's like, you're getting brave. I'm not gonna go like chasing after.
The cats are gonna like that when you get them.
That's
then.
so funny.
But anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, with the
Talking about the parade. And how Cameron needed to see that.
yeah.
But I don't think that was Ferris's intention. It was just like, hey, just do what I do and everyone will be perfect.
I'm just, oh yeah. Oh no, I was talking about the vehicle. He doesn't know anything about because why? He doesn't own one.
That's right.
And like, you know, like
He doesn't even have a crappy car to be jealous of.
right. So it's just funny that, like, you know, the one thing he's not in charge of is something that, you know, he absolutely has nothing. One question, unless somebody else was going somewhere, but
I just wanted to go back to the parade real quick before we move on.
Yeah, hit it.
Do you guys think that he was lip syncing in the movie, not production wise, because obviously he was lip syncing to both of those songs, but do you think on the parade they had some kind of sound system that was pumping out Twist and Shout from the Beatles?
Definitely.
Or are we supposed to believe that he was singing those songs?
No, because Danke Schoen is in a woman's voice.
no, it's
Oh,
actually
that's
young Wayne
actually,
Newton.
Well, that's true. That's
I
true.
always thought it was a
Yeah.
woman, though. So you're not.
No, you're right. It is. I remember it is Wayne Newton. But
I
no,
always
you can
thought that
tell
was a
it's
woman.
The actual people.
Like I thought it was a
Yeah.
girl.
When
That's right. I'm sorry. It was Wayne Newton. But you can tell it's the actual people that sang it.
well, you can, but I always thought that was a production flub that they just didn't. They were like, you know what, we can't get Matthew Broderick to sing. Let's just lip sync. We'll pretend it's him singing. But the two songs are so different that I didn't know if that was something that was happening anyway on the float. And he's like, oh yeah, we're about to do Twist and Shout. We're gonna just play it. Use lip sync.
I feel like ever since I watched it, I always kind of got the fact that he was just lip syncing on the
Okay.
float.
I
That's
like
how
to
I felt.
I like to think that he's so persuasive that he got a bunch of people who had never seen them before to say, hey, you know, it'd be cool. Could you play Twist and Shout right now? And just everybody just turns into a flash mob and just is able to like fucking Fame, you know, and just suddenly everybody knows what to do magically because Ferris Bueller is magical.
Right. Well, that's
Somebody,
all
see
the
the flips in the
Kinda felt like
background
that,
and
too.
Oh,
everything.
it's
Like
great.
the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, like the Blues Brothers. Yeah.
I love on a different note. I love how like when he's calling people at the high school, on the payphone, and everybody's just so nonchalant about like him dying. Like the girl is like, "Are you dying? You think you'll be alive this weekend?" And then he's like, "Yeah, I'd say so." She's like, "Okay, great. Maybe I'll see you."
Right.
It's just the kind of the way everybody acts on it is so funny. They think he's dying, but he's going to be, everything's fine.
That whole Save Ferris thing is, I mean, a band came out of that. There's a band called Save Ferris. And you can still get T-shirts at Target that just say Save Ferris on it.
That's so cute. And when Jeannie sees and she pulls up and sees that saves Ferris on the water tower. Which, by the way, I had her car. It was a 1980-something Pontiac Fiero. I had a red one.
And you're
it had
still alive.
T-top.
That's great.
That's good.
I think it was only
Actually,
red
I
and
totaled
white.
that, and it was a really, really bad car accident.
Yeah, it could have been really bad.
But it was really bad.
Right. No, I'm saying like
really
we
bad.
could have been the three people not talking to Melanie right now with those Fieros, man.
Yeah.
But oh no, I wanted to talk about like back in the school when first off, God, who fakes a death in the family? Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
no.
because you got to think of this for a second. If he's going to school tomorrow, she can't most likely. She's gonna be out because of her grandmother being dead, right?
Couple
So,
days.
Can I
but
tell
here's
you-
the thing. I have a quick
Yep.
question because I remember this. Did she have a British accent when she starts talking to Rooney?
She is British.
sounds
I'm
like she
guessing that she just wasn't a great actress.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was more of a like her just like trying to put on some sort of because like you are a beautiful man. Thank you for your warmth and kindness. Like it was like, whoa, what's up with this? And then she's like, "Are you kidding?" Like when she gets to the, and then they make out, which is crazy.
I would say it's
Yeah,
kind
why
of,
would you do that and take off like bat out of hell when you're trying to pretend like it's the father and to begin with?
Just to make us
Right.
laugh.
So Ferris is so smart. He's got this whole thing planned out and to the T. And he, first of all, he skips the Bentley that's in the garage, which would have been a smarter choice to pick up if you're a guy picking up your daughter and you're all snotty, you're driving a Bentley, not a Ferrari. And the fact that Rooney could have walked down those stairs and shaken the hand of her father, that didn't happen, which it could have. And then the kiss and the screeching off. That was very messy. And I don't like that part of it because he's so calculated.
Yep.
And he got away with everything so cleverly. That one was just too sloppy for me.
I thought that too, and I kept, it was bugging me, but then I kept thinking, all he probably cares about is the fact that he got away with it. He doesn't care what happens later. He got away with it, and now they're off, and he can't do anything about it. But I thought the same thing. I'm like, I even wrote that down. I'm like, why would he do that? That's just so stupid.
I agree.
Looks like they filmed that first. And then as the movie progressed and they wrote a little bit more, it was like, all right, let's make him a little more clever.
Yeah. I will say, just to bring up Rooney, like I know, look, as a teacher, I'm not an administrator, as a teacher, there's certain students that maybe they get your goat, but, you don't actively target trying to find them, see where they live, follow them around a neighborhood in order to get them into trouble. If you did that, you'd be arrested, much like the actor was, because that's just, kind of creepy. And I got to tell you, even as much, here's the thing. If there's a student that you're not particularly fond of because they always get away with stuff, or they're a pain in the butt, or they make you look stupid, or whatever, like, the moment they're not in that school, you're not going to think about them. They're like, thank God he's gone. I don't want to think about this person anymore. And you know what? There is no principal that's going to, I know, see, that's what I'm saying, is that it's unrealistic. So Mark, no, it's just a movie.
He's obsessed.
I get it. It's unrealistic because it's funny, and that's fine. Yeah. What I'm saying here is that, it's kind of in some weird fantasy land, where and this is what I forgot my point, but now I'm back. That's how Hughes has a finger on what kids are thinking. Kids think vice principals care all day long about when they do bad things, and they don't. As adults, Rooney is not going to, once the day's over, I'm going home, I'm not thinking about that kid anymore. But kids think we think about them. I bet you I got us go. And I tell my students, I'm always like, you think I think about this when I go home? I don't. I'm sorry.
Right.
I will think about it between 9 and 3:30. That's when I think about it. After that, I can wait till the next morning. But kids think we live at the school. So it's in that
Right.
same vein. That's how Hughes is able to make that sort of believable for a teenage audience, because they think that, when that's the furthest thing from the truth. Like, they don't want to think about that child until Monday.
You know what, though?
Forget it. It's over, you know? I don't know.
Both Jeannie and Rooney are obsessed with him and can't let it go. Like, so,
Yeah.
like, everyone else loves him, right? You know, is affected in a wonderful way. Those two people, you know, like, they won't let it go. But either way, for either person, it doesn't really overly work out for them. I mean, except if you want to get technical, you know, like, you know, Jeannie works out where she does have an upper hand for half a second at the end, and then still, who would she rather help out?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So she
Greater
loves him
evil.
enough. It's her brother. You know what I mean? Like, so she does love him. She just hates the sibling rivalry and how easy he has it.
Why didn't she recognize Rooney? I mean, she was in front of him for a good 3 seconds, and that guy's very distinct looking, and it's a small high school. She walked in the principal's office, and Grace said, "Hi, Jeannie."
Yeah.
Who are you upset with now? Or who's been bothering you now, which I love that line.
Yeah.
So everyone, it's a small school. Everyone knows everybody. How come she didn't recognize him? Was she so scared, perhaps?
Yeah.
But she kicked him a couple times,
Which was
and she
funny.
should have thought to herself, "Oh my God, that's Rooney.
The
What's he
kick.
doing in my house?"
The kick was
I never
outstanding.
liked that. Yeah, 3 shots.
Boom, boom, boom.
There's a couple of quotes that I like, because you just mentioned the principal's assistant there. She goes, "He's very popular, Ed. The sportos, the motorheads, the geeks, the sluts, the bleds, the wastoids, the dweebies, the dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude."
Yep.
Like,
That
I just
was
love
a,
that part.
That last part was improvised. The
I know,
righteous
I
dude
heard that.
part. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was
So
great.
and-
And her hair was improvised. She
With the
walked in on
pencils?
set.
Oh.
She walked in on set, and John Hughes said, "Oh my God, I love the hair. We do this with the character?" And nobody knew how to do that in the hair and makeup department. So Edie McClure would do her own hair every day. So she developed that because she thought that Grace thought she looked best in the 60s. So she kept her hairdo throughout the decades.
I love
And
that.
then John Hughes looked at her and said, "How many pencils do you think you could hold in that
That's
hair?"
great.
And that's
Love
how
that
that
part.
scene happened.
That's cool.
That's so cute.
That's
Yeah.
adorable.
She's always going to be Mrs. Poole to me. Every time I
Oh,
look at her,
yeah.
I just think of Mrs. Poole. That's all I think of. The other quote I like was, "My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid who's going with the girl who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night. I guess it's pretty serious."
That's Christy Swanson.
Yes,
that's right.
I love her.
Yeah.
My favorite line is towards the end. It's very subtle. The mom and dad pull up to the house. She goes, but she was in jail. I had to go pick her up. Then we get a speeding ticket. And the dad says, "I think we should shoot her." It was just so random and so quick and so absurd, too. "I think we should shoot her." And that's it.
I think,
And
You know they got married in real life? They
They
met
did.
on the set and then got married after this movie.
And Ferris and his girlfriend as well. Matthew Broderick and Mia, what's her name? They were together for a while until
Well,
they
I heard-
killed somebody.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
he
well,
was
I
with
heard it was
Jeannie.
Jennifer Grey.
He was with Jennifer
It was
Grey.
Jeannie.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's Jeannie. Yeah,
I
yeah.
have that written down. Yeah, they were in a car accident in Ireland, and a couple people died in that, and then they
Yeah.
broke up.
And it
Yeah.
was their fault, I think, whoever was driving.
I'm thinking that's why they broke up. They probably got into an argument about her or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I
But
felt
how
bad
sick
because
is
I felt
that?
guilty.
I mean, that's crazy that Matthew Broderick killed somebody in an auto accident, and he's so beloved. Everybody makes mistakes. I get that. But that's one thing that you don't think about. Like, you can think about Jeffrey Jones
Yeah.
as the child molester, the guy doing creepy things. But Matthew Broderick did something pretty horrible, too.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. It was when I was doing the research for this. I'd never even heard of that until I was looking that up just yesterday.
It actually.
And I don't mean to bring this down.
No,
I
no,
think
no.
I
It
feel
gave
like-
Jennifer Grey had survivor's guilt, so she was there. She was feeling that for a long time, which is why we haven't
sure.
seen her in forever. And then finally, she what broke her out was they asked her to be on Dancing with the Stars, which she didn't even want to do. And then I don't know if it was her kid or whatever that convinced her, and she did it, and that sort of broke her from like some of her shell to.
Well, do you remember maybe about 20 years ago, she made a show. It was almost Seinfeldish, and she played herself in that show. So it was about a bunch of friends, and they all knew Jennifer Grey somehow. And it was almost like James Vanderbeek playing himself in the bee from Apartment 3C. or
Oh,
whatever
yeah,
the
yeah,
show
yeah.
was.
Okay.
And she had gotten her nose done in between.
Right.
And it just wasn't.
Right.
That's not
Nobody
Jennifer
recognized her. It was endearing, really. Like, people loved it as a part of her look. And
Oh, I thought she was beautiful in her earlier years, and she still is. But
Sure.
the faults and everything, the flaws.
Yeah, it was her
Did you guys notice the
insecurity,
license
though.
plates?
Like I'm perfect. Her flaws.
Her flaws.
I can deal
All
with
right,
them.
you know what? Let's talk about Ben Stein, who was he had a small role, but so memorable.
Yep.
You know, not only the
'Cause we do it.
Bueller.
Oh,
you
yes,
know,
I love him. I have that written down, too.
right. So not only that, but what I love
doesn't
is
answer you. What do you do?
what?
Somebody doesn't answer you. What do you do, Jay?
Oh,
When
oh
somebody's
yeah,
not
yeah. You
answering
say Bueller as a response because like they're waiting forever. What I love is you know that story about how he's like something DOO economics.
Yeah, voodoo.
Voodoo economics.
Anyone?
Right.
Anyone?
So he's doing that, and I remember like because he's very smart. I mean, he did a show called Win Ben Stein's Money. On
He's
like
a campaign writer, I think, for multiple presidential campaigns.
Yep.
right, and then they wanted him to give like a little presentation on something of that sort, and he's doing it like during like I think the dress rehearsals or something, whatever it was, and he says it. And everyone's just laughing hysterically, like in like big round of applause, and he's like, "Wow, I taught them something," and then he realizes that they applauded because it was so freaking boring. Like it's just because of the delivery, yeah. And you know, I mean, it's just the subject was just so like, but it was just
Even
crazy.
that other teacher too was really good. In what way?
Yeah.
He does.
Oh yeah, he's like rubber. So it's showing again. It's showing that it's tapping into how kids view teachers. There is no one here had Ben Stein as a teacher, and no one here had an English teacher that very much did this. But we can take it as a caricature of a teacher. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
If I'm a physics teacher, like if I'm a physics teacher, you're probably picturing me with a pocket protector and tape between here and a goofy necktie with like a galaxy on it. That's the furthest thing from me. But that's what you're picturing, like some nerdy dude, even though I am a nerdy dude, but I like to have a little more sway than that. But that's what they're picturing. Again, it goes back to John Hughes knowing what kids think school is like, even though that's not really the truth kind of the thing. So, I don't know.
Well,
I'm defending Ben Stein.
One of the funniest parts of that is the kids' expressions to all the teachers.
Yep.
With their bloodshot eyes and they're not blinking and they're drooling everywhere and they
drool.
just have this. They're in a zone and they're not even knowing what they're doing. They're falling asleep on the desk.
Yep.
It's
I love
so
that
funny.
one. The drool with the kid
Yes.
waking up, like in
Yes.
all that puddle right there.
Everyone's like,
Oh, but he woke up because of a scratch on the chalkboard.
Yeah.
Right? How
Yes.
school is that? Right? I woke up because of squeak, which makes me want to punch babies.
No chalkboards anymore, anyway, which is
No,
great.
thank God.
did you guys? I was trying to say earlier. Did you guys notice the license plates throughout the movie?
No.
Nervous. I noticed that one.
Yeah, but there was also FBDO for Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh.
Okay.
There was MMOM for Mr. Mom. There was VCTN for National Lampoon's Vacation.
Oh.
Wow.
And there was the Simple Minds poster in his room for the Don't Forget About Me song from the Breakfast
cool.
Club.
He had the
I forgot
coolest
he did
room, by the
Mr.
way.
Mom.
Oh, I know, right?
Oh yeah, that was modeled after John Hughes' bedroom, I guess, as a kid.
Coolest bedroom
Wow,
ever.
I imagine it would be very
Yeah.
similar.
God.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to say that we didn't say when we did the Breakfast Club was that high school was same high school that they used for the Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller's Day Off was the same one. It was already a high school that was closed down.
Okay.
And then they redid the inside for both of those movies, and they shot them like right near each
Oh,
other.
cool. Didn't know that.
And of
Yeah.
course, that fictional town of Sherman is in Sherman, right? That's it.
Yes.
Is
yes,
in
the
all
Breakfast
his
Club.
movies. Yeah.
Yes. yeah.
Shermer, I think, with the R.
Shermer, yeah. We had a birthday party at the house yesterday. It was 80s themed, and one of my friends came as Kelly LeBrock, so she had the Shermer
Oh my God.
athletic department shirt on and everything. It was cool.
So
That's
we can say that they are
awesome.
in the Shermerverse.
Oh,
Yeah.
The Shermerverse.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, fantastic.
And
I'm gonna look that up, but that's not a thing. You got to coin
I
patent pending.
normally try not to give too many on the teaser side, because like so many things have fallen through. Like, you know, like right after I tease it, like, hey, next week we're doing Mr. Mom, and then like the guest can't make it, and it's like, damn it, no, we're not doing Mr. Mom. You know, so like the last show, somebody was, you know, we promised one thing, and then it's like, hey, it's 48 hours, everybody. It's like,
Yeah.
like what happened to Mr. Mom? But Ray has agreed to do Weird Science with us.
Oh my god, I love that.
Which in the future, which is like very cute, very not very cute, very
Cute.
soon, very cute. Hey, whatever. We can say it's cute. We don't know.
Right.
We haven't watched it.
Good point.
No, we have. But no, but like soon, like in a couple of weeks, we're gonna do Weird Science. So
Cool.
I love that.
it was
Yeah, I'm
fun.
looking forward to that.
I have
You've
not
never seen it?
You've never
I
seen it?
swear to
Oh,
God.
Chris is
not
gonna
all
hate
of it.
Then.
No.
He's
Are
gonna,
you
he's gonna,
kidding?
he's
Not
gonna
all of
drop the. He's gonna drop the
Oh
bomb
my
on this.
god.
Not like Clue.
Yeah.
I'm sure I won't drop the bomb like Clue. Oh God.
No.
Who likes Clue? God.
No, it's just that like
I got
this.
friends that swear by it. I don't
Even
get
though
it.
he's gonna, even though he, you know, we're not gonna get deep, but like even though he has a finger on the pulse of teens, this is a whole other ballgame.
Yeah, I know that. I understand
Weird
that.
You know
Science.
who else had their finger on the pulse of a teen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jeffrey
Jones.
Jones.
Boom, there it is.
Okay, so I wanted to show you something from my 80s past. If you notice, with Sloane's answering machine when they call and it's talking about how they had a death in the family. Do you remember that
Yeah.
part where they show her answering machine? Right in front of it, there's something right in front of it, and it's basically these that I've saved
Are
forever.
you serious? Oh my
Oh, wow.
God!
I remember those.
What is?
Do you remember those?
What is happening?
Yeah.
What is it, like some
That's so
sort of
funny.
It's like-
keychain?
Just charms.
I mean, my God, they're charms. I mean, I can't even. There's just too many of them.
Wow.
But I just
That
haven't-
and like the jelly.
Jelly. Oh yeah,
wristbands.
the ones that. Yep.
haven't. Yeah, oh my God, I had a bunch of
Melanie,
those.
when do we get to see the slap
But
bracelets?
I noticed this and I was like, oh my God, I have those. I still have them. They're upstairs in my bedroom drawer.
One other question. I like how he thought of everything, you know, for all the little
Right.
cover things, and I love how he has a second line, gives the phone number. Like calls, leave a message, and says, you know, you can reach me, or puts it on the answering machine. You can reach us at this number. When she's saying, you know, like, you know, there's a death in the family, we'll be over here at this. Boom. They call it up, and it's Cameron's voice saying, well, you know, we've reached the mortuary. We'll call you back as soon as humanly possible. But the funniest part is they have this evil, sinister organ in the back.
Right. Now, what happens if like a family member calls Sloane's house?
Right.
That's what I kept thinking the whole
Yeah.
time. The whole time I was watching this movie. Every time I've ever watched it, I thought that. Somebody else is going to end up calling there. It's not just him.
Yeah.
How they going to explain that?
And you know his recording at home does backfire. You know, it's great the first time, but then the second time when he hits the doorbell, it backfires on him.
Yeah.
So it wasn't perfect.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
I do love one last thing from me anyway before we go to Final Judgment. I like when he's running through all the backyards, still has 5 seconds to turn around and say hi to the ladies.
Yep.
I am first.
Yeah. I love that.
Cuts through
Well, also,
someone's
who
home.
brought all the flowers in the house? Who the heck brought all these flowers into the house? The door's locked.
Yep.
A person who's delivering flowers can't get in your house. And when the parents come home, Jeannie and Ferris had just gotten home. They open up the door and there's all flowers in the foyer and all going up the stairs. Who the hell did that?
Yeah,
Rooney got in at one
Yeah.
point. So
He's not going to do it.
he did, except for one of the orders, because the guy honks the horn.
Yeah, but he fed it to the dog to poison
right.
him. Or
No, I'm just saying he
something.
took one of them.
Or knocked him
just
over the head. I think he knocked him over the head and with a vase or something.
we laughed out loud with the bam, 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 bam.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they send him some sort of a R-rated freaking strippergram thing.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm here to restore your pluck because I'm the nurse that likes to when the door slams.
Yeah. Just like, give me a break. Well, and the other thing, too, when the Sloane was in the taxi, why couldn't she have just turned her head like this? Why would she need
Right.
sunglasses to look at the dad? And wouldn't the dad recognize her anyway because it's his son's girlfriend, and I'm sure he's seen her a billion times. How are sunglasses? Is it like a superhero where sunglasses are just going to hide who the person is? You know, it's a superhero. They're just going to put on a different hairstyle, and then you don't know who they are.
I think
glasses,
that's more of like
And then she was blowing kisses at him too.
right.
I thought that too, but I think she was a high school girlfriend, like a school girlfriend. I don't think Ferris ever brought her home, which I don't know why.
Right.
And maybe they weren't together that long. I mean, you remember when you started dating somebody back then, you were going to get married after a week.
Yeah.
Like, that's how serious you took it. But it was a girlfriend that you just really saw at school. It's sometimes it took a while to bring a girl home to my house,
Sure.
but I still wouldn't risk it because it's a small town and a small school. Why wouldn't the dad? Oh, I know her dad. Why?
Yeah.
He's going to recognize her, I would think.
Unless
I would
it's
think. Well, obviously, I think that they were worried that she was going to be recognized because they gave her a pair of sunglasses.
Right,
To try
right.
to use as a disguise. So.
But I think it's also an indictment on the parents of like they don't like fully pay attention to every detail of their
Maybe.
children's lives,
True.
especially in the 80s.
Well, to
They were
Chris's
not
point-
helicopter parents back then.
No.
This is what we made parents out to be in
Right.
our heads, how dumb they
Yep.
were.
Right.
We were going to be able to, put anything over
Yep.
them, just like the teachers.
They didn't know
and
shit.
we saw our parents like the Buellers, who were nice people, but not the brightest people
Right.
in the
So
world.
or Ferris running right beside his father's car on the way
Yeah.
home, and his father looks at him and he's like, "No,
In-
I don't think I
in
saw
the
that."
Shermerverse,
There.
the
Nice.
parents are either dumb as a box of hammers or they're ruining their children's lives. That's it. There's no in between.
Right.
In the Shermerverse, those
Yeah.
are adults. And eventually, what the Shermerverse doesn't address is that these people are going to grow up and become their parents, equally clueless or equally belligerent. One of the two.
And I think that's why we need to see. They keep talking about a Ferris sequel, but with all the reboots, with the Top Gun thing, I think they could do another Ferris now, where he forgets who he was and he's trying to find his daughter because she took off for the day. But throughout the movie, he realized, oh, wait a minute, I was you at one point. And I think that I'm sure they've thought
That would
of
be the
script
best
options.
movie
Right.
ever. That's
Yeah,
such a
They
great
tried
show.
that movie. It was called
Yeah.
Hook, and it was terrible. All right.
Well, you know what? The people who did Cobra Kai, I did not hear about this thing for Ferris Bueller, like the reboot in any way. But but the fact that those people that do Cobra Kai, I can't think of his name right now, but one of them is the person who did Hot Tub Time Machine, and that's an all-out 80s.
You love that movie. You were talking about.
I do love that movie.
I think they would do it right. I
yeah,
love Cobra
like
Kai. I
he's-
love Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah, so that guy knows how to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like 80s and nostalgia and bringing it right back to the fans. So I have a feeling, with the two parking garage guys, it'll be funny.
Yeah.
I don't care. They'll
Yeah.
pull it off. So you guys want to do Final Judgment?
Yep.
This show whipped by.
I just have two quick things before we do it. Do you guys know that when Ferris and Cameron first went to the garage to go take the Ferrari out, there was two cars in there.
Yeah.
There was that really old car in the background, that green car with the little round lights.
Yeah.
I don't know what was
Actually,
that?
there's three. It looked like
There's
a
three?
Model T or something. It was old.
Yeah, it was in the back to the right hand side. But when they go back there later on, there's no car there. It's just literally gone.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
But
And
there is
then,
a Bentley too. There's a Bentley to the right of the Ferrari.
I like
and you
that.
just see the corner of it, and I thought to myself, that's what a distinguished guy who Cameron was, portraying.
yeah.
He would drive that to pick up
Yeah.
his daughter.
And then
Yeah, it looked like the other one was like it was an old Model T or something.
Yeah.
Like something like that. It was green. Yeah. But that was missing.
Hmm.
And then the other funny, just real quick thing I want to say is Charlie Sheen was not doing drugs at this time, but he wanted to look like he was strung out on drugs. And I don't know if you read this already, but he so what he did to make himself look like that was he stayed up for 48 hours before filming to look like he was like this strung out look
Nice.
for the part.
You can just
Yeah.
rub your
And
eyes
not-
really
not-
hard. That too.
Yes.
or
Yes.
drops
Yeah.
or something.
Yes. Yeah.
And real
Yeah.
quick, and we can keep talking about this stuff, but his character was supposed to be bigger. They had a whole backstory about him and his family, and his name was something, but the name on the tow truck is his last name. So the family owns the tow truck company, comes from a bad family, and there was a scene shot where Ferris was friends with Charlie Sheen's character in junior high, and the guy went a different path and Ferris couldn't save him. So that was maybe a reason why he was always trying to help Cameron. So it's a weird backstory about that small little Charlie Sheen character.
that's cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was in part, like I said, like the movie was 2 hours and 45 minutes and they had to keep cutting it. I wonder if there were some parts in there.
Probably.
Oh, wow, because it's not. How long is it? It's an hour and 45
Yeah.
maybe?
they had to really cut it. They had to cut it a lot.
Well, how come we haven't seen the director's cut?
I don't know. Wouldn't that be
call
pretty
Zack
cool?
Snyder.
Though? 'Cause it's so much more time.
It's a 4-hour version
Yeah.
of.
Well, it's like
the whole school
Breakfast
day.
Club was the same thing. It was like 3 hours.
Wow.
The Snyder cut is the whole school
It'd be
day,
pretty cool.
6.5. All right, let's do it.
It's time now for final judgment. Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the final judgment.
All right, now it's time for final judgment. Up until now, everything was an opinion, but now it's time to stamp it into fact. So does this movie stand up to the test of time? We're going to go around the room. We'll go as quick as we, not as quick as we can, but we'll be as succinct as possible. If you don't mind, can I go first? Does anyone have any objection? And then I'm going to lob it over to somebody. So the other three get ready.
Nice.
All right. So here's the deal. Again, the movie is this show is about not whether or not it's good, whether or not it holds up. It's a good movie. It's entertaining as all get out. It's funny. It's tender. All the characters are likable that are supposed to be likable. It's really hard to say it's not a good movie. I would say though that it does not hold up for the following reasons. Not because it's not funny. I'm not kidding. I think it's, and here's why. Here's my take. Get ready. Again, it's a great movie. Didn't say it wasn't. I recommend it to everybody. What I'm saying here is that if you made it today, the Hollywood would not get away with casting all the white people in this movie. There's zero diversity in this movie, and the only diversity is from the parking lot attendants, near as I could tell, right? And that, I think, is where early 80s movies, again, no one was talking about it, but we're in a more inclusive age, and I think to make it more believable, particularly if you're, I know you're in a Chicago suburb, but like a little diversity would be dandy, and I think it would speak to more people if, again, I'm not saying you shove diversity down people's throats. I get it. Like, I'm not that guy. However, if you're going to remake this movie, or if it's going to stand up to the test of time, you have to acknowledge the lack of diversity in the movie a little bit, and maybe cast some other people rather than in the roles that they are. So that's the only way that it doesn't hold up. It is the foibles of suburban rich white kids. And that doesn't really hold up. I'm sorry, that part doesn't. I didn't say I didn't like it. I didn't say I don't identify with them. But I'm just saying that from a diversity standpoint, I think it, again, if you're going to redo it now, if you're going to do it now, you're going to have to address that. That's all I'm saying. That's it. That's the only thing I'm saying it doesn't hold up. So, volunteers, or shall I pick? Who's going next? Go ahead, Melanie.
So yeah, I agree with that. But I did see that when they did have the parade, there was a lot of people outside
Okay.
that was dancing.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, more kids maybe in the school and
Yeah.
things like that. But I think the other reason why I didn't have that so much diversity was because it was just a couple of friends that were going out
Sure.
together. You know what I mean? And it was just their day. It wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
they were, I don't know, like with just a ton of people. It was kind of just like their little thing
Sure.
that they did throughout the day.
I agree.
But yeah,
Suburban Chicago too. I mean, I grew up outside of Boston, and there was no diversity in my high school.
I'm just saying, like, from a Hollywood standpoint, like, it just.
Oh, now if they were
That's what
making
I'm
now,
saying.
though,
That's what I'm
absolutely.
saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not realistic. I'm just saying if they're going to make the movie now, it just wouldn't fly.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all I'm saying.
And they do that. They do that with
Yeah.
Annie, the remake of Annie. They did it with Footloose. Anytime they do remake something, Adventures in Babysitting, and they'll make a remake of this on Disney with, all sorts of diversity. Someday.
So okay,
So, and I constantly bring this up, and I'm sorry about that, but yeah, of course, my teenage girls love it, and their friends love it, and I feel like everybody knows this movie. Like everybody, even like all ages, like this movie, and they watch it constantly. There's just so many funny parts in it, and there's just so many quotes from this movie that is timeless. So much comedy from this. Like somebody could just talk about a billion quotes from this movie all day, just like the quoting of certain scenes. The movie is kind of all over the place. There's so much stuff going on at one time. I don't know. I have to say it holds up just because not just because I love it, but I feel like if it came out today, the way he's narrating the thing and the way he's still getting away with skipping school and kind of pulling stuff over on teachers and his parents and and things like that, and just having like this, every kid dreams when they're at school, oh my God, I hate being here. I wish I could just sneak out of here and have this fun day out of here and dream of what they could possibly be doing if they weren't sitting at this desk right now or not in gym class right now and doing something else. So I think it still would hold up to this day just because I think it would still relate to so many people for the same reasons it related to people back then. I think everybody can relate to certain characters in it, or just the fact that they wish that they could just ditch school and have a grand old time somewhere and do something fun. So I have to say, and I am, a lot of times I can be more critical on different things, but I feel like this would hold up if it came back out again. I think people would find it pretty amusing.
All right, Melanie, pick somebody.
Oh, Ray.
Okay. I think we were lucky enough to get so many quotes that we still use on a daily basis. The Bueller, that thing. Mm-hmm. And we get 2 Grace references from that time era. We have Grace, the blessing, and we also have Rooney, the way he says, Grace. Mm-hmm. I use that all the time, and I don't know why, but it just seems to come out of my mouth from time to time. I think the blessing. Grace, the blessing. I don't think it holds up because today's day and age with technology, we have cameras, we have Track My Phone. We used to get lost in the 80s. We would go out. We had to use payphones to connect with friends or wait at McDonald's to see who's doing what. So I think if you made it today, there's too many variables with technology that would prohibit him from getting lost and his friends from getting lost. Mm-hmm. That's all. Otherwise, I think it would just be a difficult remake to squash those issues. But I do think it's timely. I had to explain it to my kids the first couple times, but they're 14 and 11, so they're coming up on that age. But I had to stop, which is very annoying watching movies with Dad. I had to stop and say, well, this happened because of that, and it doesn't happen anymore. But back then, we used to do this all the time. All right, play. And I ruined the experience for them. But my son, who's 14, loves it. And I think we're smarter. I think, we were smarter than our parents. Maybe we weren't. Maybe I'm just saying that because we all thought our parents were dumb. But I think it's harder for our kids to get away with things now because we had Ferris Bueller. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we know all the tricks. Yeah. So that's my take. And I'll pick
the mouse.
Jay.
Yeah. The mouse is going to...
If you picked up that mouse right now in your hand, I would laugh my ass off. Like mouse. And you just see his little head. That'd be great. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. No, that would also be dangerous.
Yeah.
Chomp, freaking bite me in the finger. Okay, so...
you turn into a superhero if that happens, right?
That'd be awesome.
It's tough because he's lactose intolerant. All right, sorry.
Okay, so obviously, I agree with you, Chris, about those details. Mm-hmm. I think it holds up in the sense that kids today still get a kick out of it. They would have fun watching it regardless of things that don't, there's no phones, there's stuff, there's things that are missing that they have, the computer, the video games. But the comedy is there, and I just think, and he's still getting away with stuff that they would love to get away with. Sure. So therefore, he's speaking, or this movie speaks to them. So I think overall, and by the way, I think if you made it again today, you could make it set in the 80s.
Oh, you could.
With
That's
inclusion.
how I feel a lot of things. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could, with more inclusion and whatever. So you could set it in the 80s, and therefore you solve the problem of the tech issues that would be the overall seeing eye that would be hovering over everybody today, like the facial recognition software and all this, everybody's got a cell phone and tracking, and that's got a GPS on it. That would make it very hard to create for today. So therefore, you could just set it back in the 80s and just do it. Make sure things are, kosher today.
Mm-hmm. Or you could set it in the 3000s and we'd all talk to each other telepathically. You could do that way too. Just saying.
I feel like that too. I feel like when I'm trying to see if it stands up for today, I never think of the technology stuff that you guys do. I never think of that because, again, I've said it before. When I'm trying to figure out if it holds up today, I just try to think if somebody would like it today, not if there's things in there that wouldn't make sense now. Because, again, I've said it before. Just because we are so much older now, it's kind of like the 80s are cool now, and I know you don't like it I just feel like there's so many movies and series that are coming out now that are set back in the 80s, or even in the 90s when there were things that were set back in the 70s. We realized that when we were watching these movies that they were in a different time, and we never thought, oh, this doesn't hold up now because things are not like that now. We just thought, oh, that's cool because it was like different back then. I just kind of look at it like, because we're so old now and we're looking back at it and our kids are watching it now, they realize that it's in the 80s and things weren't exactly the same. So I just kind of look at it like that. That's just cool. How I'm looking at it.
That's what.
Now, this is not live, but we are recording this the day before I turn 50.
Ah,
by the time it comes
Happy
out.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
How's it feel?
What's that?
How's it feel?
Oh, it feels like I'm still 20-something in my head.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah, I won't.
I hit that landmark myself. My wife last week.
Yeah,
So.
it's
happy
fine.
birthday.
I refuse to grow up mentally like sometimes.
No, everybody thinks like
As
in
you
my
do.
head I'm 24.
Right.
Well, how old do you think Ferris's parents were? Because looking at them, watching the movie, I'm like, all right, those are old people. They're probably 50, 55. No, they probably didn't even hit 40 yet.
They're probably they're probably our age.
Exactly.
So that's all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Crazy.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, folks. By the way, we're doing the major YouTube shift for this show, so we're doing that a lot more, and we basically, really, if you can like and subscribe, that is huge. It helps the algorithm, it helps people learn who we are, and gets the show out there. So, and if you're listening on podcasts, please maybe rate and review. That would help us too. So, Ray, why don't you tell everybody once again about your podcasts and how to find you?
New England Legends podcasts are newenglandlegends.com, and you can find us on all the platforms. And then my new podcast, Don't Quit Your Day Job, about local musicians, is coming out on September 2nd.
Super. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, have a great week, everybody. Melanie and Chris and Ray.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
man.
you for coming back.
And we'll be back in a couple of weeks doing Weird Science, so that'll be fun.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Which one of
That's
these
gonna be
kids?
a good one for you, Chris.
Which one of these kids is doing his own
Yeah.
thing? Chris is
Now
the.
I'm
Chris
gonna watch
is going to
this
be all
movie.
three of us
See,
loving
I'm
this
gonna be
thing,
all-
and he's going to be
I'm
like,
going to be all self-conscious because I'm going to watch this movie. I'm like, what did they think of me? Like, you know what I mean? That's like, but I don't
No,
care
no.
what
It's
people
just
think of
that,
me.
like,
So hey,
no.
No, I love you for exactly who you are, and I'm wondering what you're going to
Here's the thing. The three of us grew up on this film, so we loved it when we were 13 and 14.
got it.
And have great memories from that and refuse to let go of how much maybe we
All
like
right.
it. You're seeing it
But
as a
I have a
47-year-old
feeling
Yeah,
or a
Yeah.
46.
it's different. Yeah.
46. So you're seeing it at 46 for the first time. That's going to be like getting hit by a bag of hammers or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff that doesn't
All right, I
hold
can't
up in
wait.
it
Yeah.
at
Oh
all.
no, this is yeah. We'll get to that full
Yeah.
final judgment, but I'm gonna assume it's not like as hold uppy as everything else. I know that's not a
Hold uppy. That's up there with the Shermerverse.
I know.
I can't
that's
wait to
not
get
a
back to the Shermerverse. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
And we're doing Gremlins soon, aren't we?
We'll have
doing
to-
Gremlins soon?
What?
We're doing Gremlins soon, too?
Yes, next week.
Oh, is that next week? All right.
Unless that's a lie.
Yeah, I never know.
Like I said, I try not to tell people, but yeah, next week, we're gonna
Cool.
do Gremlins, so should be good. And all right, everybody, have a great week. Take care.
Bye.
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 Cricket, chirping about movie.